I want to talk a little bit today about strength. Strength is something that I have been fascinated with.
You want to say your name is?
Oh, my name's Dave Whitley. I'm sorry. Thank you. My name's Dave Whitley, and strength is something that I have been fascinated with since I was a very small child. And it affected me so much that it became my profession. I became a professional strength coach and performing strongman. And in the process of becoming a strongman, I have had lots of adventures. And more recently, since having my son, my emphasis has been on being a strong man so that I can raise my boy to also be a strong man. My primary mentor in learning how to do feats of strength, which I'm going to show you one in just a few moments, is a guy named Dennis Rogers. And he told me very early on, it doesn't matter how much weight you can lift, it doesn't matter what steel you can bend or how many decks of cards you can rip in half, that's all good. But strength is actually an attitude. It's a spirit, it's a presence that you bring into stuff. There's integrity involved with it. And it always makes me think of an experience that I had with my dad. When I was probably 12 or 13 years old, I was working with him during the summers, and we were driving home one day, and we stopped at this convenience store, little small store, and went in, and I was talking to him about something, and we kind of got distracted, and we left. And after we got several miles down the road, he realized that he had taken a candy bar and stuck it in his shirt pocket, and then neglected to pay for it. So the next day, as we drove by that market, he said, "We have to stop here. I have to go in and pay for this candy bar." Now, no one would have known, except for him and me, that he didn't pay for it. But it was that important to him that he wanted to instill that into me. And so those kinds of stories, as we are children, growing up, help shape who we become. If you've ever heard the story of how baby elephants are trained, in countries where they use elephants as work animals, it's sort of the antithesis of it. They will take a chain, fairly similar to this one, and they'll put it around that elephant's leg, and they'll tie it off to something. When it's a baby, just a tiny little 200 or 300 pound baby. And that baby elephant will pull, and the more he pulls, the more that chain digs into his skin, the more pain he experiences. So he pulls harder, and he experiences more pain. And he pulls harder, and he experiences more pain. And ultimately, he very quickly comes to realize that the more I fight against this thing, the more pain I experience, and the more failure I experience. And so that becomes the story that this elephant believes about himself. And the elephant grows up 500 pounds, 1,000 pounds, 2,000 pounds, however big an elephant gets. And this method of training the elephant works so well that they can take a grown elephant, put that chain around his leg again, and drive a stake into the ground that anyone in this room could pull out of the ground if they chose to. But the elephant has been so conditioned by this story that as soon as that chain goes on him, my job is to stand here and do whatever I'm told. And I think about how much we, as humans, are like that elephant, and how we're born with all of this potential, and all of this possibility, and all of this promise. And at a very, very early age, we get some limitations put on us by people who mean well, by people who are looking out for us, who have our best interests in hand or in mind, but they don't necessarily understand the power and potential that the stories they tell us, which ultimately become our stories, can crush that spirit within us. And we start to learn stories of fear, stories of doubt, and ultimately we dwell on stories of past failures until it starts to crush the life out of us. But unlike that elephant, we can call on our power that is thousands of times greater than any imaginary chain we put on ourselves or that we've allowed to be put on us. And in an instant, we can change that story to a story of strength for our children, and we can break out of it.